2 hours and 12 minutes for this? What the is going on?
Yeah, baby. Come on. From Rebels?
Why does Ride of the Hut sound like some pizza boy from Ohio? To me, it really feels like they were like, hey, this is what we had planned for season 4. Let's just make it a movie. Every bit of dialogue in this movie is garbage. Remember when Disney made a really great Star Wars series, then abandoned what made that series great, and then adapted it into a garbage movie? I remember. We're talking The Mandalorian. This is the Binge, a show that merges the two greatest things this world has to offer, movies and booze. Each week we make our way through an entry of a franchise and get a little drunk along the way. This week, it's the conclusion of our Star Wars spin-off run with The Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm your host, Joshua Ryan, and I might not have liked this movie, but you know what I do like? Ivanhoe Park Brewing Company in Central Florida. Today, I am drinking the Bungalow Belgian-style Wheat Beer Ale. This is the brewery that hooked us up for our Star Wars run, and I'm digging it. With me, as always, my co-host, Timbo Jones. What's up?
Josh, everybody, what's happening? I, too, am excited to talk about this wonderful movie, and I'm going to also be drinking from the Ivanhoe Park Brewery. Please check them out if you're in the Central Florida, Orlando area. I'm doing the Toboggan, the blonde ale, because
you could ride that.
Yeah, I like riding toboggans in tandems. You know what I mean?
With us, joining one of our favorite guests, we have Anthony. He's decked out with his solo hat. He's a big Star Wars fan, and I think we might butt heads on this one a little bit. What's up, Anthony?
What's up, man? Well, thank you for having me. I do think I will be the one singing this film's praises a lot more than everybody else here on the panel today, but it should be a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on. I am drinking, for the very first time ever, a White Claw. I've literally never
you're going to get White Claw wasted.
I know. Ooh. I guess so. It's Surge Lime, 8%. I don't expect myself to get super tipsy on this, but first time, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Dude, it's kicking
Question,
a can.
have you had your period this month?
I have.
I kid. All right, let's cheers to Star Wars, to a galaxy far, far away. Clink.
Got the Ivanhoe.
Oh, Tim got the snifter. I didn't get my snifter. I got one of those.
I got
now,
the
how am I going to
snifter
snift?
You got to sniffed away.
Got a hair on there.
I know. I saw. I got rid of it.
Yeah, sorry about that, Tim. That was mine.
I ain't scared of little hair, Josh. I ain't scared of little hair.
So the series, The Mandalorian, this was a big deal when it came out. This is the first live-action Star Wars series ever. Both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, they were working on different story ideas focused around the Mandalorians in the late 20-teens. Kathleen Kennedy, who was in charge at the time, suggested that they work together, and The Mandalorian was born. It's what came from it. The series debuted at the launch of Disney Plus. I forget, was it same day Disney Plus, or it was very shortly after? I don't remember if it was same day, but it was one of the driving factors to get people to get Disney Plus was that they had this really cool Star Wars series coming. I know it was one of the very first things they put out. That and the Lady and the Tramp live action, that was one of the first things they put out too.
I think the Lady and the Tramp was at day one, and then I believe Mandalorian was probably month one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I forgot to take off work for Mother's Day, so I don't remember when anything happens anymore because
what?
Hey, I got a beer.
We got 3.5 seasons of this show. The first 2 were very legit. I say 3.5 because they gave us the Book of Boba Fett and then just turned it into The Mandalorian and undid everything they did in the first 2 seasons, and that annoyed literally everybody. But I remember nobody knew going into the first episode, the first season, that this was going to be The Mandalorian and a little baby Yoda. And that was kind of the reveal at the very end of the first season. You know, he's on this bounty mission, and he just finds this floating little, I almost said casket. That would be dark, dead baby Yoda. Carriage, a little baby carriage. And that was our first look, was at the very end of the first episode.
Yeah,
so
that's
Disney had
episode 1, yeah.
Yeah, but going into it, nobody knew that. It was just like it's the Mandalorian. All the promo was just him. No,
Yeah.
no little baby Grogu.
Little surprise.
Disney specifically didn't make any merchandise of Baby Yoda, which that was the whole reason, really, that Baby Yoda exists, is to merchandise the shit out of this cute little adorable plush, which it works. But they didn't make any of that pregame and basically sacrificed a whole lot of merch money up front because they were afraid it would get leaked, because we see it all the time. Oh, our first look at this character and it's from a toy or something, that got made or something like that.
Yeah.
So they did a really good job of hiding this, because this is hard to do, to keep such a major plot point, because Grogu is just as important as the Mandalorian, and they totally hid the fact that he was going to be in this and that was going to be part of the story. That's pretty impressive for what, 2022? Is that when this came out, or 2021? I don't even remember.
I almost want to say it was 2020.
Maybe.
The only
Probably
reason I
in there.
remember that is because I was still living at the moment. My wife and I were living with my family, and I remember watching that first episode.
Sounds terrible.
I know, it was a little window of time, and that's no longer the case, and has not been since 2020. But we
I heard it.
We
I'm
all
a
did a
man.
lot of weird things in 2020.
we sure did. But
I'm a
I remember
man now.
watching that episode at 3 a.m. I woke up at 3 a.m. to watch it. As soon as it dropped, I didn't want to risk any spoilers, and then I immediately went to my mom's garage where I used to film my incredibly poorly lit YouTube videos. But yeah, 2020. It's crazy how much time has passed since then.
I forgot my little Grogu doll toy thing that was.
I
in
thought
the,
you were gonna have it, man.
You know what? I was late today getting to the panel, as Anthony said, and I forgot all about it. So, I'm sorry.
So the clearest and I think most singular influence or homage that the series and the characters play is to Lone Wolf and Cub, which I love this series. Have you guys seen Lone Wolf and Cub?
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I have the box set of all of them. It started off as a manga, and then they adapted it into, there's like 6 movies, and I have the box set of all of them. And it is just a lone samurai, a Ronin, who's roaming the land with his little baby in a baby carriage, just taking out bad guys. It is basically the Mandalorian and Grogu, and the baby carriage is like equipped with all these like weapons. He'll like push a button and like swords shoot out, and he grabs and is just chopping everybody up. There's like little turret guns on it sometimes. He just fights everybody for 6 movies. It's insane, and it's fantastic. And he's got a little baby with him the whole time.
well, now I want to watch it. That sounds awesome. Was
Dude,
it
you gotta
animated?
watch it. He'll just no. He'll just slice a bad lady's like jumping at him like, "Ha, I'm gonna kill you," and he just like slices her with a sword, and her whole top shoots off, and she's just flying boobies out.
Is this animated or a movie? Like live
No,
action?
it's live action.
Really?
Yeah, it's great.
I have never heard of it, and I'm down.
Oh,
They did 6
check it out.
movies? What year was this? Or years?
I think like late 70s, early 80s.
yeah,
they're,
it sounds
they're
like
foreign
that.
films. You know, they're Japanese movies. And like I said, it was based on a manga. I bought the manga, and mine like printed wrong or something. I tried reading it; it was all fucking backwards and shit. Like started at the end.
Well, traditionally, manga do. I'm assuming you know
Yeah.
that.
I was about to be like,
It is true,
who wants to tell Josh?
Yeah, no, I do have the manga. I haven't got a chance to read it, but I bought it after watching the movies because they're awesome. They're really, really fun movies. It was designed to be a classic Western, but almost all of our iconic Westerns are adaptations or take inspiration from samurai cinema. Like the Magnificent Seven is, the Seven Samurai. So there's a whole lot of mixture of samurai and Western cinema in here, while it is it's traditionally, like a Western. To keep the Western gunslinger vibe, I didn't know this till I was doing my research for this. Brendan Wayne, the grandson of John Wayne, is who often is in the suit playing the Mandalorian. I didn't know this.
To get
He wore
that
the
walk.
suit. Yeah, he wore the suit and handled the like gunslinger posture and the kind of Western cowboy movements. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, there's 2 guys. There's 2 guys that wear the suit.
That-
Yeah, there is,
across
but-
the series. Yeah.
Only one
Yeah,
of them was related to John Wayne, so I didn't include the other guy. Sorry.
Right.
Well, the other
yeah,
guy does
but-
all the good stunts. You don't even know.
Yeah,
he's the
yeah.
He
one that
wasn't
actually.
related to John Wayne.
Yeah, but he does all the fighting on the action. John Wayne Jr. just fucking walks and sits.
He should have been related to John Wayne. There were plans for a
guess so.
4th. Yeah. There were plans for a 4th season. It was written, it was ready to roll, but then production was stalled due to the labor disputes and the strikes. And so they just pivoted and decided to make a movie. I know we're going to get into it. I know Anthony really likes this. I think that pivot is very well felt. And to me, it really feels like they were like, hey, this is what we had planned for season 4. Let's just make it a movie. Because this feels like episodes of TV, like more than one episode of TV stitched together.
Are we jumping in this now? Because if we are, I'm about to jump in. Or you still got some facts you want to go through?
I mean, we still got some, but we can hit points as we go. What's your point?
I mean, should we lay the groundwork of what the movie's about first?
That's what I mean. Like, do you want to just finish the facts and then we'll because I feel like once we start opening the movie box, we're not jumping back. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. The goal with the movie was to make a movie that audiences could watch without having to have prior knowledge of the larger franchise. I do think it succeeds there. I don't think you have to have seen any of The Mandalorian or anything to go into this. And if you're going to dig it, you're going to dig it regardless. And they wanted to create a movie that newer, younger audiences would see as like their Star Wars. They're trying to recapture that we saw Star Wars at a young age and we were like, fuck, this is awesome. They're trying to recreate that. Obviously, Grogu is a huge part of that, trying to get younger audiences in there. And you know what? Grogu's great. I don't have any complaints against Grogu. I do think they lean a little too heavily on the he's just a goofy little baby too much sometimes. Like, oh, look at this goofy thing he's doing. Like, almost like Michelle Tanner in fucking Full House. It just cuts to him. He's like, oh, thumbs up. I'm doing something goofy. Like, okay, I get it, Grogu. That's your shtick. They used the working title, Thunder Alley, while filming. It's a better title. I'd go watch Thunder Alley.
Sounds like a race car movie.
Maybe it is.
You know? Sounds like something Tom Cruise would be in. Oh, because he was in Days of Thunder. That's
I was about to say, you're just thinking this is Days of Thunder. This is not Days of Thunder. Okay, what if it's like The Mandalorian and Grogu in Thunder Alley?
Well, then it
sounds like a Mad Max.
Yeah,
Mad Max
or pod racing.
I mean,
now,
hey,
this is pod racing.
Now you're selling me on it a little bit more.
Ugh. I hate space NASCAR. Let's keep going.
I love pod racing.
I know I'm the weirdo on that one.
Yeah, no, pod racing's neat. I used to have the PlayStation 1 pod racing video game, the Phantom Menace racing video game. It was just like a cheap version of like your standard racing games, but you were in pods. You were pod racing.
Right. And now the new game's about to come out soon too, man, which I'm later this year in the fall. They have the new Star Wars racing, like pod racing game coming out. That looks so good. I think it's made by like people who made like Need for Speed. It looks so good. I already got it pre-ordered.
I'm sitting there going, nice. Why the fuck are these pod racing games coming out? I just want to be a Jedi and go and hack people.
Because of Anthony.
Not just freaking stupid pod racing, which I was, even when I watched it as a kid, I was like, this is boring. Let's go. Wrap it up.
Without pod racing, without pod racing, the Star Wars franchise wouldn't exist. That's how little Anakin got his freedom. We wouldn't have Darth Vader.
He got his freedom because Qui-Gon cheated Watto, right? Watto. Qui-Gon moved the dice, fucking landed. He did a little Jedi sorcery.
Well, pod racing had something to do with it. I'm almost certain of that. I don't remember.
Yeah, he had to win the race, win his freedom. I think.
See, I told you.
Save the cheerleader, save the world. I don't know, something. I get them all confused.
They started using the volume for this show, which is just a massive LED kind of curved display meant to replace the green screen. It does have its benefits because it can look much better than a green screen. The actors can see the environment that they are in. It can help with, natural lighting and stuff like that. It does look better, but you can still tell when you're in the volume. You can tell that something is off. Something is unnatural.
I don't know if you can. I don't think you can.
Well, I just said you couldn't.
I know
I think sometimes you can. I think for the most part, like The Mandalorian is probably one of the prime examples of like a show that I think has used it the best. There have been some Disney Plus shows where it's like, yikes. Like when they did the Santa Clauses. I remember there was a couple scenes there where the volume did not look great. But The Mandalorian, I think, has done it fairly well. And I know they used the volume here, but you could definitely tell that they used a lot more practical sets and locations for this film than they did on the show. I feel
like there's a lot of not practical sets. I feel like they're typically in a CGI world.
For sure, but I don't mind it too much also as a giant prequels fan because about 75% of those movies is on a blue
The
screen.
whole ending of Phantom Menace was in a Windows desktop from 98. It was just the fucking hills and then the clear blue sky. That's where they fought in Naboo.
Yeah, I mean, just so much of those movies is digital, so heavily digital, which I'm sure will be a conversation of this movie. But at the same time, I do think that there's been Star Wars films in the modern day. Despite your thoughts on the sequels, there have been those films. I think have struck a really great balance of practical and digital.
Yes, I would agree with that.
This movie, directed by Jon Favreau. I love Favreau. You know, Jon Favreau, we've already covered 2 of his movies, Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2, and now The Mandalorian. So we're only covering his movies that feature a lead actor in a metal suit. We've made this agreement. That's all we're doing. I think we've got them all. Any others? Chef? Does he wear a metal suit in Chef?
He's around metal.
That's true.
So
he cooks with it.
Yeah.
Written by Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, who is now the Lucasfilm president and chief creative officer, and Noah Kluwer, who is a staff writer for the Book of Boba Fett. That is not a good credit to have. Who would have guessed that the first Martin Scorsese movie we would cover would be this one? Because Martin Scorsese is in this movie.
He's in it, but I wouldn't say it's a Martin Scorsese movie.
Yeah, but
I'd
it
say
is.
He has a cameo.
Yeah, he's in it. He is the scared. He's the scared food truck driver, who's afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's used to being around the wise men, wise guys and stuff like that when he grew up. Can we talk?
Yeah, wise guys.
So that planet that they go to, I just want to dive into it. Can we just fucking dive into this thing already so we can? I'm chomping at the bits.
So, all right, cast. You got Pedro Pascal as Din Djarin, the Mandalorian. Jeremy Allen White as Rada the Hutt. I have thoughts. Sigourney Weaver as Ward. Wasted, unnecessary. She didn't really do anything. Movie released May 22nd, 2026. We don't know the box office because we're recording this early. Budget of $166.4 million. It is the lowest budget Disney Star Wars movie yet. For comparison, The Rise of Skywalker, the last one, had a budget of $275 million. We don't know any box office because at the time we're recording this, it's not released yet. Tagline: if you're searching for adventure, this is the way. Okay, I get it. That's the thing he says. He says the thing, so you put it in there. Oh, yeah, it's not as clever as you think. Runtime 2 hours, 12 minutes. What the fuck are we doing? 2 hours and 12 minutes for this? What the fuck is going on? That is way too long. It's way too long for this. They didn't do anything with that. This is 40 minutes too long, and they didn't do anything with that 40 fucking minutes. All right, you guys want to talk about the movie? Because I know Anthony's itching to defend this thing. So let's talk about the movie. Anthony and Timbo, you guys both got a lot to say. Let's give it to the guests first. Anthony, just kind of start us off. What are we thinking?
All right, so I'll agree with you immediately that it's so obvious that this is 2.5 episodes of a TV show crammed into a movie. There's literally a breaking point after the first half of the film where you can feel things slow down, and it's so obvious that it's like this is where the credits would have rolled and we would have gone into the second episode. So I agree with you there. I think unlike other Star Wars films that we've gotten to this point, there isn't as much of a traditional 3-act structure. The scale and the stakes feel substantially lesser. And I think that there is a lot of convenience in the narrative with characters that appear that are simply there to tell our characters specific things, including an older gentleman that's just your classic old dude in a bayou near the end of the film that's just like hanging out, that just so happens to have the perfect thing Grogu needs to save the day with Mando later on. There's a lot of that in the film. Even some of the villains that we deal with throughout the course of the film are fairly easily captured with fairly convenient things that they say that get us to the next place. So I say all that right off the top to recognize that I don't think this is the best Star Wars movie. I don't think this is amongst the best Star Wars films. But I still had a good time with it, man, because I think when it comes down to The Mandalorian as a show, while it has had some real heart and some real charm and some real impactful moments, And I think, like a lot of people that probably are going to expect that to come from this movie, it's ultimately been, in a lot of ways, an adventure of the week style show with an overarching story.
Which works for it.
Right.
Great then.
And so for me, this fell right into that. I think if you're a fan of the show, for the most part, I think that this gives you more of that. Now, should it have been a theatrical release? Should it have been a movie? Maybe not. I can understand the gripes that people are having with the film, but while I was sitting there, bro, I was shoveling down popcorn, I was guzzling down soda, and I was just so entertained. And I think sometimes with Star Wars, I'm okay with that. I'll say this just for the context of where I'm coming from. Like, I know Tim has also watched like the animated stuff and kept up with all of the other supplementary material outside of just the live action stuff in the movies. For me as well, since I was a kid, I've been reading Star Wars books and comics and playing the video games and the stories. And amidst all this, there's so many stories that oftentimes are great or just okay or sometimes weak. And for me, when I see a movie like this that doesn't feel like it meets the quality of other films, I'm okay with it because it kind of just reminds me of the many times I've read a Star Wars book and said, that was fun. It's not going to be in my favorite Star Wars stories. And so I kind of feel that way with The Mandalorian and Grogu. It was fun, action-packed. I loved the choreography and the hand-to-hand combat and the gunplay. I think it gives you everything you want in Star Wars in terms of the big spectacle and planet traversal and spaceship battles and alien creatures and, an awesome musical score that's, obviously incredibly different from everything else in the franchise. Ludwig Göransson, I think, does an incredible job of reprising the music from the show. And I think that despite the places that make it feel like a TV show movie and like it doesn't have that same scale and stakes as other Star Wars movies, I think it still has heart. I think it still has charm. I think it still feels like what makes The Mandalorian work. Does it feel like 2 episodes of The Mandalorian? Yes. Does it feel like 2 of the best episodes of The Mandalorian? Mm-hmm. Probably not. Yeah. But does it feel like 2 good episodes of The Mandalorian? For me, I would say yes. If this was paired up together in a season and those 2 episodes came out, I think fans would be like, yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed those episodes. Like, I don't think those episodes would be viewed negatively. However, I don't fully disagree with what you're saying as far as the impact of it. But I do think it's still plenty of fun. And I like also, while I wanted a little bit more out of Grogu from this film, kind of like you said, he's kind of like always on the sillier side of things.
He's the fucking Michelle Tanner.
Yeah, and honestly, those moments made me laugh every time.
I chuckled every time, and then I often rolled my eyes and was like, come on. I chuckled. They got me with it. I was like, oh, Grogu. And then I was like, fucking come on.
Especially when there's that great mythic moment of him walking through this like open bark of a tree, and he's got the stick, and it's obviously harkening back to Yoda. He's walking with this walking stick.
That time
he's
Yoda
seeing
walked through a tree, yeah.
These lights, these little light bugs turn on, and then the next thing is him like just swatting them away. Like, it's so silly, it's so goofy, but I think it retains the heart and the charm of the show. And I like also that this movie allowed us to show what Grogu has learned from Mando over the seasons of television. So, is it everything I wanted it to be? 100%. No. Is it as good as every other Star Wars film? No. But I still enjoyed it.
I think this is the worst Star Wars movie. I think this is absolutely the bottom Star Wars movie. When it comes to the action, there were like 1 or 2 moments of action that I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Typically, they were very short. One was at the very end, which we'll get to as we talk through. I thought, okay, now this part's actually pretty good, but it's way too little too late. We're 2 hours and 5 minutes into this fucking 2 hour and 12-minute movie for me to be like, oh, this is cool. Too fucking late. We'll talk through it. This one's a little different because it's a new release. We saw it at a critic screening, so I couldn't take all the notes, where we make our way through. So we kind of have to go by memory. Tim and I were a little drunk, if that surprises you, so our memories may be foggy. Okay, Tim might not have been drunk. I was drunk. I pre-gamed before I got there. One thing I will say, though, the very first bit of dialogue. So the plot of this, Mandalorian is typically a bounty hunter. Now what he is working for a new republic. They're trying to rebuild, and he is hunting down the remaining imperial, like, warlords. Great idea. Feels very kind of World War II. We destroyed the Nazis. Some of them are still fucking hiding out somewhere. Let's go find these Nazi bastards and make them pay for what they did. It sounds really cool. But from the very first line of dialogue when this opened, I remember the very first, like, 2 sentences that were said. I rolled the eyes into the back of my fucking head and was like, I'm in for something rough, I think. Because every bit of dialogue in this movie is garbage. Every single thing that is said by any single character is literally the most expository. This is what's happening. This is what I feel. This is what I need to do. Literally everything. So what I'm talking about here is it opens with one of these warlords preaching to some people who are clearly not willing participants of his trying to rebuild an empire. And it's just him saying, the empire has fallen, but we will rebuild. You will rebuild with me. Long live the empire. The most generic, let you know what's going on real quick type shit. And that type of dialogue didn't stop for 2 hours and 12 fucking minutes. Everything that was said was, this is what we have to do now. This is what I'm feeling. Now we have to do this. I'm mad about this. That was literally everything. It was the worst written movie I've seen in a long time. It was close to being fucking Madam Web level bad written. That's how bad this shit was to me.
No, not even close, dude. Listen, can I agree with you to some degree that there's a lot of, like I said, there's utility characters in this movie, a lot of them. You know what I mean? Sigourney Weaver's one. I thought they were going to do a lot more with her. She's ultimately there to be like, that's what I'm saying. She's ultimately there to be like, hey, you're going to go here and do this thing, and if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. So I don't disagree. Same with, like I said, Captain chilling in the bayou, you know, at the end of the movie. Just one dude chilling under the... He was a cool dude. I wish we spent more time with him because all he was there to do was be like, hey, I found out from this other guy that just so happened to stop by that you're afraid of, that your boy got bit by a dragon snake.
When you just find a house in a bayou and you're like, well, I clearly have to go up here. Oh, there's an old man I have to talk to. And he's like, oh, you must be looking for this. I know where that's at. It was like, yeah. What is this?
I'll agree with you. There was definitely some of that. I don't disagree with that. And I think that's what holds it back, I think, from being amongst the best Star Wars films. But at the same time, I would argue that the Mandalorian show has a lot of that. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that detracts from your statement. You know, that I don't think that detracts from the validity of your criticism. But I just think that this, for me, felt very in line with the scope and scale of The Mandalorian. Now, have there been times that The Mandalorian has gone bigger in scale, especially as it's brought in characters from the animation with like Bo-Katan and, you know, Boba Fett and all those different characters? Yes, but I think for the most part, it's always kind of been like an adventure of the week, Grogu and Mando roaming around.
But an adventure of the week works when it's a week-to-week TV series. It don't work when it's a major motion picture.
Sure, but I do think it's going to work for some people. You know, and I think.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I think some people are going to have fun with this.
Right, and I think that's really going to. It's going to come down to. I think there's going to be some people who like, yeah, if they don't like Tim's faces are killing me.
I know. I want to hear from Tim because he has been sitting there nodding for like 10 minutes straight.
Yeah. Like, go ahead, Tim. Go ahead.
Everything Anthony said, ditto.
Okay, shut up. Tim's done talking. We're done. Moving on.
First of all, let's talk about my man Zeb, baby. Come on. From Rebels, you got a little hint of him in the show, and then now he's full-fledged part of the team with Mando. Let's fucking go.
But again, did they do anything with him? Anything interesting whatsoever?
He was in live action. For us Rebel fans,
besides
that
he's
is
there
awesome.
And looks cool.
That is awesome. Yeah, that's all. You know what? That's all he fucking needs to be right now, because he's gonna be in Ahsoka and he's gonna meet up with those guys. Because Papa Palpatine Filoni, he already fucking said it. Papa Palpatine. Sorry, that's in my head right now. Yeah, you know this is definitely a like Anthony was saying. This is a show. It's a show on screen. You know, you don't even do.
It's not a show though. It's a fucking movie.
Okay. It's a show on IMAX. The fuck you want me to tell you? This is what it is. It is what it is. They even did opening credits, and no Star Wars movies do have opening credits, but they did opening credits.
I like that. I was down with
that. I didn't. I don't like it. I don't. No. And I mean, the cinematography was amazing. What they were doing and the music was amazing. Like it was cool.
There were a couple cool things. Yeah.
No, I meant during the opening credits, like that whole the night the dusk time of day and on the beach and the X-wings are coming in. It looked fucking cool. It was fun. But I'm like, it's a Star Wars movie. You can't do opening credits. Like, what are you doing? And you didn't do it a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. That's also kind of made me mad. But I don't remember if they did it.
I think they're avoiding that with the spin-offs. I think they're trying to keep that primarily Skywalker Saga.
They did it similarly with what's it called? They did the same thing with
Solo.
Rogue One didn't have it. Solo didn't have the full opening scroll.
No, they just
Solo
had.
did what Solo
text.
did with this film. What this one did. And
yeah, they did
the same thing that Ahsoka did the same on
yeah,
Disney
but
Plus.
Yeah, but that was I'm talking.
But I get what you're saying. The opening credits did kind of. It kind of called my eye in a way where I was like, that's a little weird. That's a little different. You know?
If you're like, we're not trying to do the show, don't fucking do the show. You know what I mean? Right. And there's no lightsaber. The first movie without a lightsaber. So it's just that's the things we don't have. All right. Now that I got that going, I don't hate the movie like Josh does. I like I'm saying, it's a 2-parter movie that we could have got a special feature like they just did the Punisher special feature by the time we're recording this. You know, that we could have had. This is a made-for-TV movie on the big screen, and honestly, like you guys were saying, I didn't really think about it. Yeah, it does kind of feel like a video game because he does get into situations, but because he has that Beskar armor, he just like walks through platoons of men. It doesn't fucking matter. Like they just shoot at him and it just bounces off. Like he feels
it. His armor works, but none of the stormtroopers do.
Well, it's because he's got it's Beskar.
Yeah, but why don't they just get better armor?
Because
Beskar is like it's kind of rare. The Mandalorian specifically.
They don't have to get Mandalorian armor, but like, what's the point of wearing their suits? I guess
what they have is like it's because
that's the tale as old as time. I guess.
So yeah, I mean it's like it's since they have to mass produce armor for millions of billions
like
of
3D printed.
Yeah, like they don't have enough money to make armor for everybody that's really, really good. You only do that for like the higher ups, and the really good stormtroopers and stuff.
And
like
it's mainly for like an imposing thing, like in a collective. They roll into a town. That visual alone is more of a scary thing.
Listen, I love the look of a stormtrooper's armor. It's awesome. I'm not griping on that, but I mean, is one of those.
The Death Troopers in Rogue One are the fucking coolest looking stormtroopers, and they got the scrambler fucking.
You're doing a cupping the balls motion as you try to describe this.
No, but the one thing I
know
do
that motion well, Tim.
You do it a lot. The one thing I do have to say that I feel like Star Wars channels on YouTube. They always say, I feel like there's people that are hardcore Star Wars fans be like, well, we want this as a fan base, or we want that, or we want this. And I fucking hate that. I'm going to have a point here probably if I get to it, if I remember
I think you're meandering.
But my point being, like, I hate when people fucking talk for all of us, because I feel like there's a Star Wars for everybody. Like, I don't like the Acolyte. Right. A lot of people don't like the Acolyte. And people talk like, oh, we as a fan base, we don't like it. But you know what? There's some people I know that fucking really like the Acolyte. I don't like Solo, but he's got Solo. I like Bad Batch. There's people that don't even watch the fucking Bad Batch. I mean, this is my Bad Batch, 9-9. 9-9. Let's fucking go. So when we're talking about this, I don't want to talk for anybody else but me. And I'm going to say it. I liked it, but it wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst Solo. It was a good time. I'm going to do a hot take. Hot take. Are you ready? I know we got a new graphic. Right, Dave? Yep. There it is. There was no new graphic. The hot take is I'm over fucking Grogu. I was over Grogu the moment he went to Luke. I was like, good, go away. Because I'm fucking done watching a child that will never grow up. You could never do a time jump where him and Din Djarin are together, hanging out, traversing the fucking galaxy, where they're both like being super badass.
I don't want him to be grown up. I don't want
him to be around. I want him to be gone. I'm fucking over
whiny,
him.
pimple-faced Grogu. Nobody wants that.
Away. I'm the only one who wants this. I'm the only one. I've talked to so many people.
I got to jump on kind of what Tim was just saying about the Wii stuff. The weed stuff is we gotta settle it down. We gotta settle it down, Josh. Because I do want to see Grogu aged up at some point, and I've read some rumors that on the fence Rey movie that's down the line, the Jedi New Jedi Order movie, that they're possibly thinking about throwing like Grogu in that movie somewhere down the line.
Fuck that movie.
But here's the keep
and
going,
if they
sorry.
do that, I want to see it.
But
I'm just saying I want to see it.
Then that's my point. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I don't want to see age up Grogu. I want to see age up Grogu. I want to see a Grogu who talks about being with Jin. But I just want Grogu and Jin to be together. I wanted him to be a dope ass Jedi with Jin, and they're fucking going through the bounty hunting shit. Like,
I
that'd
think
be
that we'll at least get like.
But
I
they'll
think one
never.
day we'll at least. I think we may get at least one day a scene or a chunk of time where he's at least able to speak to him.
Sure.
Like properly.
Sure, but
You
like
freeze him
like,
in
carbon?
carbonite. You freeze him in carbonite.
you could do that. Yeah.
Thaw him
But
out
like,
in 100 years.
Yeah,
but no, you guys are
he's
right.
not gonna survive that.
No, he'd be fine because of his
You're
armor.
blind.
You guys are right with the fucking all this shit going on. People speaking for everybody else. I'm just glad that we can all agree that this movie fucking sucks. Here at the Binge, everybody on board doesn't like this movie. So the plot of this has a lot to do with the Hutts. Of course, everybody knows Jabba the Hutt, big villain from the original trilogy, primarily from Return of the Jedi. And they bring in the Hutts. This is post. Oh yeah, hold on. Tim's showing off his beer. I was going to show off mine because I was looking at it and I was like, oh shit, is that Tupac on my beer can? And then you look at the name and it is Tupac Shaporter. It is a porter with Tupac Shakur.
Tupac.
And you know what?
Sure it is.
I taste Tupac in this. I do.
Is that where he went? Tupac.
So, Jeremy Allen White, as what was his name? Rada the Hutt?
Yeah, Robert the Hutt, a.k.a. Stinky.
Now, a big thing about this, so the whole plot is the Hutts have information that he needs to, that the Mandalorian needs to help the Republic. And they're like, he's like, I won't work for gangsters. I don't do that anymore. Like, he's so good now. Oh, he has such a conscience now, all of a sudden. And they're like, well, we have information you need. We need you to go save our nephew, old Rada the Hutt. He's being forced into fighting. And then they go and find him. First of all the Hutts are the most glossy CGI. All this, which is one thing, except for the fact that we know what Jabba the Hutt looks like. Of course, that was much older. That was the 80s. It was a giant puppet. You can't do as much with it. I give you that. But that's what we know the Hutts to look like. To make this worse, this glossy CGI is now clashing against, we have Grogu, clearly a puppet. And they bring in a couple of other puppet characters. And then they put them against these CGI characters that do not look realistic. And so it's like you have a puppet interacting with this video game kind of cutscene character. They fucking clash. Give me a fucking big greasy slug puppet. Like, what are you doing? I don't need this shit.
I don't think Baby
no, Tim,
Jabba.
give me a fucking puppet.
Hello. I don't think that Jabba would be able to do all the things if he was a puppet. Like in the Phantom Menace, now Phantom Menace, they went back and made CGI Yoda. Originally, it was a terrible puppet Yoda, and and
Jabba is a CGI character in the Phantom Menace as well.
He is, and Jabba is also CGI in the newly remastered New Hope, which is a terrible scene.
Terrible.
Oh,
Yeah, we don't.
I hate that
talk
scene. It
about
changes everything, and I hate it. But yeah, no, Yoda is CGI when he goes and fights Count Dooku and Papa Palpatine.
And the prequels in general are like I mean, you can think of scenes like where you have Chewbacca and General Tarful standing next to a bunch of CGI clones, like on Kashyyyk, in Revenge of the Sith.
Chewbacca is a man in a suit.
But he's still next to CGI.
We've seen the man in the suit exist as Chewbacca for a long time. Now we're having a puppet version, like a classic Yoda version. I don't know. This is just a critique I had. They clashed. They did. If you're going to commit to the puppets, commit to the puppets. I'm not saying you can use no CGI, but when you create full CGI characters, and I'm not even saying that the CGI is bad, but it is noticeable CGI that looks glossier and shinier and does not have the look of an actual physical character in the scene. There's a clear difference, and it's just like, why are you trying to make both work? Just do one. Go practical and use CGI to enhance or make things a little better. Don't give me this full Ride of the Hutt, and then he talks, and he's just like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm Ride of the Hutt. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Every other Hutt sounds like Jabba the Hutt. Why does Ride of the Hutt sound like some fucking pizza boy from fucking Ohio?
Because he's young. Didn't you hear their
so he's gonna get the voice, he's gonna get the accent that they all get?
Yeah, later. He's like a teenager, they're saying, essentially, because they lived for so many centuries. Yeah, later he'd be like, you know?
I do think that Jeremy Allen White was a strange casting choice there. I will admit.
It's a real fucking weird choice.
I'll agree with that. I think that was a strange choice. And even with the twins, at least when they spoke English, it was. And mind you, I should mention. I mean, who knows? But
we see them like snuggling in a 69 position at least once, I think.
Near the end, you're right.
But I knew it.
They when they speak English, at least there's kind of like a gravelly, more deep, kind of gnarly voice to them.
Sure.
Whereas I do agree that with Jeremy Allen White, it just feels like Jeremy Allen White as a Hutt.
It's just jarring to hear, because that's not what I expect a Hutt to sound like.
Right, especially one as big and muscular as him.
It's Din Djarin, but yeah.
Huh?
Who are you correcting?
I'm making jokes in my head because you said it's Djarin. I was like, no, it's Din Djarin.
Anyway.
Well, you got to spell the joke out to me, Tim. I'm 3/4 of the way through a Tupac Shaporter.
Yeah, watch yourself. West Coast, East Side. Anyway, doesn't matter. The only glaring issue I had with Ride of the Hutt was the writing. The writing was bad, like Josh was saying with that.
The writing is bad throughout this whole thing.
Okay. Anyway.
Continue.
Rude. Thank you. The constant exposition or backstory of him saying, like, I'm not my dad. I'm not my dad. I'm going to do my own thing. And we're like, okay, you say it once. Got it. Great. We're moving on. But then, like,
they repeat those types of statements like 5 times. Now, Tim, continue.
No. You tell me my point. You tell me what I'm thinking, Josh.
It's very repetitive.
Anyway, it's very repetitive the way that Rotten says it over and over again. Because he says it then, and then we cut to the Mando, and he was doing something, and then like they cut back to him, and he says it fucking again, and then later when they get him out, he says it again, and we're like, yeah, we know, Hutt's your dad. He's a bad guy, and you don't want to be him. It's a gangster movie. This is a gangster mafia like boss movie. I mean, even the planet they fucking go on sounds like Chicago. It's I wrote it down. It's like Shikari? That's Chicago. That's fucking Chicago. And it's all gangsters. That's the name of the planet they went to.
I know. Shibari? What am I thinking of? Where do they throw a shrimp in your mouth?
That's shrimp on a Barbie.
No. Where the chef cooks at your table and he
Kobe?
eats a shrimp
Hibachi?
Hibachi. There we go. We got there.
Oh,
Shibari's when they tie you up for sex. Never mind. I was getting 2 totally different things mixed up.
Well then, anyway, yeah, this is like a fucking, like you guys said, it's a video game. For real. Because like when they break out of that little gladiator arena that's in this underground seedy spot, all of a sudden I'm like, this is the next ride for Disney. Because that whole Mandalorian chase scene and everything they're doing, I'm like, this is just the ride. They're going to use this footage for the next ride. That's what it is. Like, you're going to have, like, you're going to go on the Millennium Falcon, and it's going to be like, oh, we went to Shikari to watch the Cubs play.
To tie them up for sex.
And then you're going to, like,
look it up, people.
Shibari. And see, like, the same footage, But yeah, no, that was my biggest thing that he kept. Now I understand. Now this is a new thing. I think this is the first time we see in Star Wars. But I was telling Josh that this is a new thing where it's called second screens, where writers are told that they have to write in constantly talking about what's going on and what's happening, because most people are going to be watching movies like like this if they even look up. So, and that's the thing. I know Matt Damon's talking about it when they did the movie The Rip, and that's why they had to like constantly kind of retell what's going on.
Tim.
So I think this is the first time we see it in a Star Wars movie, is what I'm trying to say. Because when this goes to Disney Plus and streams at home, people are going to be like this. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Tim. Josh.
Tim. Those rules, which are already being critiqued and mocked by a whole bunch of other people, and Netflix has denied. They scoffed at what Matt Damon said. We never told them that they had to repeat things. Those are for streaming movies.
And this will leave the theater and become a streaming movie.
But almost every movie will go to streaming after the theater. They are not streaming movies.
Yes, but this should have been a streaming movie, and it's going to be streaming.
Exactly.
So, but that's what I'm saying. What the fuck are you talking about?
I got you to admit it.
I've said this was a movie the whole time. Anthony's the one who's shut the fuck up. That's all I'm saying. Anthony,
don't try to apologize. Don't try to apologize to me, man. It's too late. I got you, bro.
I'm not apologizing for nothing.
Hey, look, let's pivot a little bit. Something we can probably all agree with. Probably the most creatures we've ever had in a Star Wars movie. I think, in one, focused on not just in the background, but just what
do you mean?
At the center. As
Return of the Jedi gives you a lot.
They give you a lot of background characters who I guess some are creatures, but this is I don't think there's been another. Probably Attack of the Clones, the closest in the Geonosian fight, but this is probably the most center main characters fighting creatures throughout big chunks of the movie. The dragon snake fight at the end.
Oh, you're talking about that because I'm thinking of Mos Eisley, and I'm like, yo, bro, there's he walks into the fucking cantina and there's just
here's the scene. There's
a
scene I want to talk about.
I get what you're saying now.
I'm talking monsters that they're
yes, it's not just one Rancor and that's about it. There's
right.
Yeah, I got what you're saying. Okay,
there is a scene I want to talk about that relates to this, Anthony. A scene that could have been a centerpiece where I was actually sitting up a little bit and got a little psyched, and then immediately slumped back down because I was like, "This is fucking lame." So Rada the Hutt is being forced, quote unquote, to fight in an arena, to do basically cage matches. And he's unbeatable because he's a giant fucking muscly fucking slug who talks like an Ohioan man. And he can't be beaten. And this is supposed to be his final fight. But the Mandalorian learns it's a ruse, that they're going to just keep sending in bad guys, keep sending in opponents until they kill him. So the Mandalorian goes in to try and tell him, listen to me, they're against you. And he's just again, the most generic dialogue. Why should I believe you? They wouldn't do that. And then they fight. Their fight weak. And he's supposed to kill him. And he's like, I won't kill you. You're free now. I let you win, so you're free. And what, of course, was the bad guy do? Send in a bunch of more opponents. And then he's just like, we'll only survive if we work together. Spoken in the most fucking, and I get that's how the Mandalorian talks, but when that's all the dialogue is the most monotone, expository, we'll only survive if we work together. And then they go back to back like they're fucking, okay. I'm still okay, this could be cool. They're sending a bunch of monsters, fucking a Hutt and the Mandalorian fighting a bunch of monsters together. And it's just some shitty fucking stick bug looking monsters come in. One looks like a fucking tampon. And then they just fight these fucking things. And it was the weakest choreography and just quick. Oh. Then they're just we won. So quick. And I was just like, what the fuck? And that was what I kept experiencing. I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. And then they gave me the weakest version of it every fucking time.
Am I the only one that wanted a Rancor to pop out? I was like, oh, man, I hope this.
No, Tim. We all wanted a fucking Rancor to pop out, and they wouldn't give it to us.
But we already got the Rancor fight with Mando. I feel like it would have just felt redundant. Funny enough,
would have been cool.
Like everything else.
I liked. So our version of the Rancor thing here was the dragon snake fight at the end, and I love that. He falls down the trapdoor.
Every Hutt's got a trapdoor. Every Hutt.
Yeah, and I've always wanted to personally as a longtime Star Wars fan, I've always wanted to see
a trapdoor,
a dragon snake. Well, no, but I mean, I guess yeah. But I've always wanted to see a dragon snake in a scene like that, all full on out. Dragon snake is the same creature that's slithering in the water in Dagobah that ends up pulling R2 down and shooting him out when they land in Empire. And But this actually gave us like a full-blown dragon snake scene. I liked seeing that. I can't lie.
Now, I can't attest to this because I must admit, full honesty, I took like a 10-minute nap at this point, and I woke up and I saw the end of this, and I just said to Tim, I was just like, was he fighting a sperm? I don't know. He fought something. I'm going to go get a pretzel. And I went to go get a pretzel, and I came back, and my pretzel was fucking greasy and salty, and it made me feel sick, and it kind of made my experience even worse. But then I watched everything after that. But when he fought the like sperm snake, I did nap a little bit at that point.
Oh
I'm watching
so
this
the people
scene.
watching this right now are gonna be like,
Dude,
all right,
dude,
that's
I'm
it.
watching.
That's the
this
only
scene.
part. That's the
And
only part I
Josh-
dozed off a bit. It was too fucking long, and I was a
was-
little tipsy.
It was something. I'm watching it. I'm like,
Cracking
oh, shit.
another beer.
And I'm like trying to like, okay, how did he? Because I feel like some of the action happened so fast. I was like, okay, where did he get that fucking like axe thing from? Like, what's going on? Okay, so he's like, yeah. So some spots that are there, it's lower. You know, it's a pool, but there's some fallen trees he's stepping on. Okay, I got it. And I in the corner of my eye, I got this view.
10 minutes max.
That's crazy.
And you know what? No, you know
you
what?
fucking sleeping
That's shame
right
on
now?
the Mandalorian and Grogu. If I doze
This
during
is-
your movie, shame on you.
This isn't the first movie.
I don't believe in that outlook.
No.
Because you can be, because I think about myself. There's been great movies that I've been sleepy in, and I've had to
Name
realize,
one.
what did you do before this?
Yeah,
what
what
did
did
you
you
do before
do?
this? I mean, it's so many. It would be crazy.
Oh, if
Even
there's so
before-
many, name one, Anthony.
All right, here's one. Right before we got on here, I was lying in bed watching a new movie that we got sent an early screener for called Tuner, and
Oh, I do want to see Tuner. I've heard
and
good things.
listen, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but I like the movie so far. I'm enjoying it. Right now, I'm sitting at a solid 7 out of 10. And guess what? I've worked a day. All right? I may have smoked something I shouldn't have smoked, and I was a little sleepy while I was watching it.
All right,
but-
I'm gonna skip it. If you fell asleep, it must not be good.
But it's
No,
like I didn't
it's-
fall
you should
asleep.
watch
I
it.
didn't fall asleep, but I'll tell you what. I was fighting back for a moment. I was fighting back like, if I just let myself right here, I'm out. And I said, what did I choose to do? Guess what I chose to do? I sat up and I kept watching the movie, and my body. But I can't blame the film for my choices from the day before.
I'll-
You already sauced.
Yeah.
I'll promise you this: if I pre-gamed before the Mandalorian and Grogu, and ate as much popcorn and drank as much soda as I did last night, which did not sit well with me today,
No,
I can promise you
it never
this:
does.
I probably would have been, especially Regal popcorn. I probably would have been a little sleepy in that chair.
Also,
It was a
instead-
comfortable chair.
This
And
actually
it
was
was,
pretty
it was,
comfortable.
it was very cool in that theater.
oh yeah.
The seat was very comfortable, and
Baby
trust
Grogu
me,
was giving me a thumbs up. He was just like lullabying me. He was cooing and calling.
Also, this isn't. Let's just be for the record straight. This isn't the first movie Josh has fallen asleep on that me and Evan went to go see a movie. So
Right.
he's done this before.
Tim.
Yes.
We're talking 5 to 10 minutes.
That's
max.
5 to 10 minutes that could have had the most
Still.
pivotal story beats.
Okay, but you know what? When I noticed myself dozing, I looked at my watch and saw we were already about an hour and 20 into the movie. And I said, you know what? The fucking movie ain't gonna fucking all of a sudden get good more than halfway into it. We're fucking past the point of no return. This movie sucks.
I'll say that there are a lot of action set pieces in this movie. Like Anthony said earlier, there's the beginning half of this with the opening scene with the guys talking, and then Mando just shows up and starts blowing up their little ice fortress and chases that guy down the fucking side of the mountain and all that stuff. And then what happens after that? It's just like action, and then a little bit of pause, then you get back to the action, a little bit of pause, and back to the action, which I liked, and I'm glad that they did that. I thought the action was
It's
awesome.
a popcorn flick. I
It's
think
a
it's like the
popcorn
first
flick.
true Star Wars
Yeah.
popcorn flick, because
It's-
I think Star Wars is traditionally more in line with, like, maybe not as deep, but I would say so. Star Wars is typically more in line with like fantasy, Lord of the Rings style.
Yes.
Like, we're gonna feed you like lore and world building and overarching galactic storylines. This is like, hey, We got a little cute guy and a badass with some guns, and we're gonna go boom, 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 and he's gonna go for half the movie, and we're gonna be okay. With
and
that.
that's the thing.
And
with
then the
this
Anzellans popped up. The little Anzellan puppets popped up.
Those puppets.
And I was
I
all
like
in.
those guys.
See, I like those.
Yeah.
Those guys are funny because they're like, "Yo, baby, let's go," and I was like, "That's funny."
I would hang with those dudes. They remind me of, remember the little
They're the
fucking
worms
aliens
from Men in Black.
The little aliens from Men in Black.
The worms.
You just said that.
No, remember the dudes from Men in Black that would like make the coffee? They poured the coffee and shit.
The fucking worms.
So, I don't know. These dudes from Star Wars, they remind me of the guys from Men in Black. The like little, just comedic guys who just popped up and poured coffee and say shit.
I hate the smoke. And they smoke cigarettes.
They did sometimes, Tim.
Yeah,
See,
they did.
you do know what I'm talking about.
I hate you so much. But yes, no, Anthony is right. This movie. Okay, so it's the movie. Action heavy, yes. Lore heavy, I would say not so much. And is it kind of shallow? There's not a lot of depth to it. You know, I'm sitting there watching this movie going, hey, my 4-year-old is going to love this movie. He's going to want to watch it over and over again. This will be a movie that when it comes on streaming, I can put it on in the background, not expect much from it, but like my kid will be entertained. He'll be running around with his little Star Wars blaster going pop, 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 trying to take out the motherfucking bad guys. You know, and if that's not what you want with Star Wars, especially as little kids, then what the fuck are we doing here? It's for the kids. Think of the kids.
I will say,
because
this is a movie, despite I've been very open, I didn't like it. It's
you don't
2
say.
hours and 12
I didn't
it's-
know.
Shh, Tim. Shh. It's 2 hours and 12 minutes. I saw 2 hours and 2 minutes of it. I took a little 10-minute siesta when he fought the sperm snake, and that's okay. I forgive myself. I know Tim forgives me because he gave me a pat on the head in the theater. And I will say I would rewatch this movie. It's not like I'm like, I hate this, I'll never see this. When this comes out, I'm absolutely already planning on watching it again. And will my views change? It is possible. Sometimes the expectation of a franchise you love so much can get the best of you. I will say as an example, when I watched Alien Romulus, I came out of that bitch saying, that's one of the worst Alien movies I've seen in a hot minute. Now, I didn't dislike it as much as I disliked this one, but I disliked it a decent bit. Watched it at home, and I said, the fuck was Theater Josh smoking? This is a great time. And I had a lot of fun with it, and I changed my score. I bumped it up. I don't think that's happening with this one because I think the writing is so bad. I just cannot get over the fucking shitty dialogue and the shitty writing, and everything that they say is just, hey, do you want to go to this planet? Yeah, let's go to this planet. Now that we're on this planet, we have to do this thing. Okay, but I'm sad because I don't want to be a criminal like my dad. Okay, you don't have to be a criminal like your dad. Okay, thanks. That's the epitome of this fucking movie.
I honestly hope that revisiting this down the line, you enjoy it at least a little bit more for what I think it was more trying to do. I get it when you compare it to like some of the best of the franchise. I mean, is this Empire Strikes Back? No. Is this Revenge of the Sith? No way. Is this gonna create a whole line of movies like A New Hope? No. You know, does it have the greatest finale of all time like Return of the Jedi? No. But it has heart and it has charm and
You're
it's
right about
fun.
all of those things. I agree.
But
with
that's
you
what I'm
on all
saying.
those.
I'm admitting that it's not amongst my top 4 or 5 Star Wars films, but I think that there's a lot to enjoy here, and I also think that it benefits from not having the same weight on its shoulders as like films in the franchise that have had decades of anticipation. That whether people like them or not, or love them or hate them, a lot of times it comes from those feelings. You know, like I'm a huge supporter of The Last Jedi.
Yeah,
I enjoy The Last Jedi. People hate that movie,
I know.
but I think that part of what people dislike about it and what part of the disdain for it is that people had decades of anticipation for what that movie was going to be. You know what I mean? What The Force Awakens was going to be, what any of these movies was going to be. And then they scrap the old books and they don't consider them canon anymore. So then it's like there's this level of expectation that I think this film had the benefit of not having. I did not go into this with any expectations of like this needs to be like. I remember those feelings of going into The Force Awakens. There was nerves. There was like oh my God, like what am I about to see?
Oh my God,
there was none of that.
Gurgle.
There was none of
Like
that
diarrhea.
here. Yeah, and I love The Force Awakens, and I love The Last Jedi, and I like The Rise of Skywalker. I don't love it. I don't think it's as bad as people say, but I don't think it's incredible. I think
Not
it was
good.
very much a. I think that movie is a pandering to the critics and all the people whining online in every single way.
All of
And
it.
I think it created a movie that's very messy as a finale. Whereas I think this film is like, hey bro, we're not trying to like appease your 5-year-old self. It's like you just saw this show start 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Let's just have a great fucking time with
Yeah.
this dude and his little wizard friend. And I think that it did that, man. You know, like I don't know, dude. The movie was
Well-
ending, and I was like excited to see where they would go. We haven't even touched on everything, but like Zeb, like we mentioned earlier, just as a fan of the Rebels, I agree
Yeah.
with what Josh said. What did he do in the movie of
Nothing.
grand stakes? You're right, not much. But as a fan of Rebels, I felt validated seeing his character here. It was great to see Steve Bloom return to play the character. I love Zeb. He's one of the coolest Disney era Star Wars characters ever made. And if you don't know that from this movie, well, hopefully it would entice people to go and check out Star Wars Rebels, which is, for me personally, the best Star Wars show that's ever existed. Now,
Cook.
that's a little bit,
No.
that's obviously depends on the person. For me, Star Wars Rebels is the best show of all time. So
You're
to see
right.
a Star Wars Rebels character in live
But-
action is incredible. Then we get Embo from the Clone Wars. Even though he doesn't have an abundance to do and he's just kind of a cool bounty hunter character,
Anthony.
Yes.
it's just amazing to see.
No. Anthony's cooking.
Anthony.
He's 100%
I know.
right. Rebels
I
has some of
have
the best writing of all Star Wars.
Questions. We're not talking Rebels. We're talking Mando and Grogu.
Yes, but we have to
All right.
tie it in.
I'm gonna tie you up with shibari rope. You know what that's for. Now, have you seen the original Resident Evil movies, Anthony?
Yeah, they're bad.
The okay, it's a good starting point. The Mila Jovovich movies. So and I'm a big fan of the games. Are you a big fan of the games?
Yeah.
Okay, so when in the fourth Resident Evil movie, some random dude with floppy mopped over hair shows up and he's just like, "I'm Leon Kennedy." Do you go, "Fuck"? That's the guy from the games.
See, but immediately, the big difference is that Zeb here is Zeb from the Rebels. The difference is that just
they could
narratively.
CGI him. They could have CGI'd Leon into it.
But it's the same voice actor. It's the same persona, and I think that's what Star Wars has done so well. If you've watched the Clone Wars and Rebels, right, where they do so much in the storyline with the Darksaber, I'm gonna tell you something right now, Josh. There's a moment that you didn't have that Tim and I had.
Yes.
When you got to the end of,
True, I don't watch the shows.
Okay, it's all right. When you got to the end of the first few episodes of The Mandalorian, and Moff Gideon gets out of his, I think it's like the end of that first season or like near the end of the first season, when he gets out of his TIE fighter,
Yeah.
and the Darksaber slices through that, Tim and I shat our ass because of the Clone Wars and Rebels telling that story of the Darksaber, and I just
But
think
you're hurting your case here.
I don't
How?
think so. I think that what I'm saying is that like seeing Zeb here, it's not just seeing a character. If they let me put it like this: with the case of what you're saying with Resident Evil, if they changed,
And then I'll tell you why you're hurting your case.
All right, that's fine. If they changed voice actors on Zeb and he didn't feel like Zeb, and I was just saying, hey, Zeb's in live action, well, that's all right. Then maybe we can have a conversation. But instead, they brought Steve Bloom back. He looks, he sounds, he acts just like the character. Do I agree that they didn't do an abundance with him of actual depth in the narrative?
Anything with him.
Sure. He's just a fun side character in the movie that if you don't know who he is, you're not really lost on it. But I think for fans who are ingrained in the world, it's going to put a smile on a lot of people's faces.
Yeah.
So let me tell you why I think you just hurt your case with that argument.
Let's hear it.
Because, yes, as somebody, I am a big Star Wars fan. I have a Star Wars tattoo right there, Rebel Alliance. But I am a movie guy. I don't watch a lot of TV. So I haven't delved in to the television stuff as much. I'm a movie guy. I did watch the Mandalorian TV series. And I loved season 1. I loved season 2. when Moff Gideon showed up, yeah, you're right. I didn't know the lore of the Darksaber, but the show had done such a good job of telling that story and building up the characters that I could just feel Moff Gideon was something intense. And when the Darksaber, they did such a good job of showing it, I was just like, fuck. This feels intense. I know this is serious. I'm into whatever's happening. I didn't get a bit of that in this fucking movie. So if you're going to bring things from the show into a new story, from the animated series into a new story for new people, the season 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian was the way to do it, because I was fully invested. I was like, what the fuck is that Darksaber going to do? And what is it?
But that's
what
a good
does it mean?
But
I
that's
didn't feel that
example.
not once in this movie.
But that's a good example too. The difference is that like they built a brand new story across multiple hours around the Darksaber. But the reality is, right? What Tim and I were thinking about, which you don't have to think about it, because the Mandalorian creates a different conversation. When you see that Darksaber, if you don't know the Clone Wars and Rebels, you're like, oh, this cool black lightsaber, like this dude is.
It was cool. It
badass.
was black and it was a lightsaber.
But the difference is Tim, myself, and every fan who had seen this stuff, it's like, based on where we last saw that thing, we all thought, how the fuck does he have that? How does he have that? And then, guess what season 2 introduces Bo-Katan, played by Katie Sackhoff, who also plays her in the Clone Wars and Rebels. And she comes in and she fills in with expository dialogue for, the people who haven't seen it, and that's fine. I think that's okay. But the bottom line is I think that Star Wars has been sprinkling in this bigger stuff. And I do agree that Zeb didn't have a lot to do.
They have sprinkled.
But I think that, for me, I'm just saying, even his inclusion, to know that he's ingrained in this world and working with the New Republic, it makes sense for where we last saw him, for where we're going to see him moving forward. And this isn't his story at the end of the day. We've seen him across 4 seasons of television. Zeb's not just here's what I'll put. Embo, he's just a fun character. Embo's been in like a handful of Clone Wars episodes that dealt with some bounty hunters. Him being in this movie was like, oh, cool, it's that guy with the fucking, Kung Lao hat.
I know that guy with the fucking thing. Yeah.
Right. Zeb is like, bro, like Zeb is like saying,
it's fucking Zeb.
You're seeing one of the main, at this point for me, he's a main Star Wars character.
Yeah.
But because he's been a main character of 4 seasons of television.
I mean, I know we're going to
get over. Real quick, Tim. Shut up. I realize we're an hour and 7 minutes into this. Spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning.
We should have said that up front.
Probably should have.
We will be spoiling. We're almost done. We're gonna wrap up.
No,
here very
I'm just
soon.
gonna say that
warning.
like I think that the good
Tim,
thing.
go ahead, Tim.
The fun stuff that the Mandalorian
Tim, what did you
show.
have to say in connection to what Anthony said? Tim, I don't know if we're picking you up, Tim.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Thanks, Josh. Fucking asshole. The fun thing
Tim.
that the Mandalorian show and this movie gets to do is bring in those characters from the Dave Filoni Star Wars universe, from Clone Wars and Rebels, because you had also the other big bounty hunter. Fuck, I can't remember his name. The blue guy with red eyes, and he had his showdown. Cad Bane. So like all of us that, don't have Star Wars tattooed on our bodies, but we also love the Star Wars universe, and we watch more than just TV and movies because we watch the animated stuff. Josh. Anyway.
I'll watch it. I do.
Awesome.
I'm committed to watching it. It just might be a long time before I get there.
You're just committed. It's awesome to see, like, when Hera and Chopper were live action. Shit, when they were just referenced in Rogue One, and we all freaked out. We're like, did she just... Someone say General Sula? Like, is that Chopper? Like, what is is it the ghost? We were all fucking stoked at the bare mention. Even showing my wife the latest trailer to Mando. She's like, wait a minute, Zeb in this? I was like, fuck yeah, Zeb's in this. And she's like, fuck yeah. And we high-fived. We didn't high-five. But that's not the point. The point is that...
high-dicked.
I love that with this new Filoni universe of the Star Wars, like, we get to have the animated become the live action, and it's awesome. And so yes, did Zeb have a lot to do? No. But did he beat the fuck out of some stormtroopers? Did he fly some spaceships? And did he help with a cool getaway? Yeah, he did. And to me, I'm like, that's fucking awesome. And especially now that we know he's going to be in Ahsoka with the rest of the fucking Rebels crew, like, let's fucking go. I'm excited.
Well, that's neat. Yeah, that's neat.
I will say this real quick. I'll just say this to end this on this thought. I think, to your point, Josh, if they recast him, if Steve Bloom was not brought back to play Zeb, it would not have had the same impact. It would have definitely been like, oh, they brought Zeb in, but he feels like... And I'm not saying they haven't recast characters in live action. They actually have with some of the Rebels characters. But they're also... But they're aged up in a way where it's kind of like... I don't mind it too much, and I think they chose good actors for them in Ahsoka. But I think, especially with Steve Bloom, coming back to play an alien, a CGI character, he feels like Zeb, and I just couldn't help it. Like, the second he popped up on screen, I was like, I looked over at my wife. And another thing for me, too, is like Star Wars Rebels was the show that after showing it to my wife, I showed her all the movies multiple times, showed her Clone Wars, showed her Rebels. Halfway through Rebels, she looked at me, and she goes, I think I like Star Wars more than Harry Potter now, and it was and I think Zeb had a part in that. At this point, I don't know what the fuck we're talking about anymore. I like the Anzellans in this movie.
What did you do to her in that moment?
Good pivot.
Oh, I kissed her. I looked at her so passionately because when we met, she had never seen Star Wars, and for her, Harry Potter was like her Star Wars, at least for me. And when she looked at me, she goes, I think I like Star Wars more than Harry Potter now. I mean, mind you, it did take watching all, at the time, 7 films twice, all 7 seasons of the Clone Wars. And
you brainwashed her. That's what you're telling us. You brainwashed your wife.
And 2 seasons of Rebels. But when she said it, I think it's just like she fully... Mind you, she had been reading Harry Potter since she was a teenager. Now, as an adult, she's being introduced to Star Wars. I think it was like... Because, I mean, Rebels... I think it's just the power of Rebels.
Rebels is so good.
I will say, my wife, like me, has not watched any of the television or animated. I mean, I've watched more television, but not the animated stuff. I will. It's on my list. It's on my to-do. But she was one of those people, which I feel like there are a lot of people, and I'm one of them, but not with Star Wars, who are just like, I hate Star Wars without ever having actually seen it. I hate Star Trek. I haven't seen Star Trek. Maybe I would like it. I don't know. I'm just anti-Star Trek. I think part of it is that growing up, I loved Star Wars, and my grandma, sweet old grandma, rest in peace, would just buy me Star Trek stuff all the time, being like, I know you love this. And I'm like, fuck Star Trek. I want Star Wars. What is this garbage?
When we grew up, in the era that we grew up, it was a hard line. There was a hard line. You either like Star Wars and you either like Star Trek. You didn't like both. You weren't allowed. You had to pick a side.
Right. So my wife was I hate Star Wars. I hate Star Wars. And I was like, you haven't even seen any of them that I know. She's like, yeah, but I know enough. And so I made her. I forced her. I shibari'd her to the couch with our shibari rope and made her watch the entire Star Wars filmography. And you know what? She liked almost all of them. Really, you want to know the only one she didn't like? A New Hope, the original. But she liked the prequels. And you know what? Okay. Also, another hard opinion here. Of the prequels, you know what her least favorite was? Fucking Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge?
Really?
She liked Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones better than Revenge of the Sith. But that's fine.
Now,
whatever. She liked most Star Wars.
My wife is a hardcore fan of the prequels. Like, when we first met, we argued about the prequels, and I was like, "Dude, they fucking suck. Like, what are you talking about?" Because I was
they're
like,
good. I'm on there.
Now, as we've watched them together, she's growing on me where I'm like, okay, they're not as bad. I like Revenge even more. There's moments in them, but
I love those movies. I love those movies. Mind you, though, I was 6 years old when The Phantom Menace came out, and that was the first movie I remember seeing.
I was like 10 or 11.
Yeah,
I literally have Darth Maul tattooed on my arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Darth Maul's sweet, dude. Great villain.
He's the best.
All right, let's wrap this up, Josh. Let's go to our
let's wrap it up. I want to say we don't have to talk about the whole conclusion because I was probably pretty drunk by then, but I do remember thinking that the Mandalorian was having a really cool fight. And I was like, dude, some of this is the best choreographed like fight that I've seen. But it was also intercut too much with like Grogu and other people doing shit that I was like, you're breaking up the action of that fight a little too much. You're not staying with it enough. And it's a little too late.
But that's what Star Wars does at the end of movies. There's like always three things going on.
I know. But nothing else that was going on was as interesting.
To you.
It was like, to us, because I speak for us all. We've already been over this. Let's go to
I speak for the
Letterboxd
trees.
time. Now, this episode will be coming out after The Mandalorian is in theaters, but we are recording this before The Mandalorian is in theaters. So Letterboxd is limited. The only things that have been shown are critic screenings and a couple of different promo screenings, early screenings with limited, fans getting in. So currently on Letterboxd, it only has, let's see here, 1,500 ratings. It's very, very low for what we typically cover. The average score is a 3.2 out of that, and the average most common rated score is a 3, making up 22% of those scores. That being said, Anthony, why don't you tell us your final thoughts, very quick, and your Letterboxd score?
Really an emphasis on the very quick, huh? I know I can be long-winded. All in all, I enjoyed the movie, man. I think it's a fun adventure of the week. 2 episodes of the show smashed together. Is it amongst the best Star Wars movies? No. Is it action-packed and fun to watch and heartwarming and endearing and charming? Absolutely. Does it lack the stakes and scope of the other Star Wars films? Yes, but I do think it's a fun continuation of the show, and I think it leaves things in an interesting place to be able to still do more with these characters in Ahsoka or Dave Filoni's upcoming Star Wars movie that's been talked about for a while. And my score that I'm going to give it, that is a mix of my love for the franchise and my overall just fun time that I had with it, is going to be a 4 out of 10. Or 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5, an 8 out of 10.
I heard 4 out of 10, so that's a 2 out of 5.
No. 4 out of 5, 8 out of 10. The white girl wasted is, I didn't really get me, but just ever so slightly.
Yeah. Timbo, what's up? What do you think?
Oh, nothing much. How are you?
Hey, Tim, vamp for a minute. I'm going to pee. You vamp on your score.
Now that he's gone, it's just the two of us. Well, Josh, thanks for asking me. Fuck. No, I mean, I think that I wanted to like it more, but right before going in, I remember thinking like, oh, I don't know if this is going to do as well. And so I went and be like, I think this is just going to be like mid, because, mid is what people say. I just wanted to say it because I feel like I'm part of the people and this is what they say. So with that being said, I still feel that way. I think it was fun. It's a popcorn flick. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a fun movie. There's nothing wrong with being a fun movie. Sometimes you just want a fucking fun movie. Not everything has to be depth. It definitely doesn't have depth. It's very shallow. It is kind of interesting because like they just finished Darth Maul, Shadow Lord, and that had a lot of philosophy. That had a lot of philosophy, a lot of depth. What does it mean to be a Jedi in this new world? All that shit that he's like pushing onto the young Jedi, trying to get her to become his apprentice and all that shit. Like that was, and then the last 2 episodes of Maul, you're just like, what the fuck is going on? I remember just screaming at the end of the second when he showed up. I'm not going to say who it was if you haven't seen it yet. And then that whole last episode, you're like, I cannot believe this is happening right now. So you're like, you have that, and then you have this, and this is like a fun.
I'm back, and Tim gave it a 1 out of 5.
Not give it 1 out of 5. So, but one of the few gripes, like I said before, is that I didn't like that the Hutt kept fucking saying the same shit over and over and over again. I feel like sometimes the graphics sizing was weird. Like, I feel like the ship was getting closer to the planet, but not like shrinking to the planet. And sometimes when they're leaving to go to hyperspace, I was like, it doesn't sound like how they would normally leave as well. Like, there's little like weird shit. Like, and sometimes when he's running into the forest, it looks like he's just like running in place, and they're making it look like he's running away. Which I thought
like
was very
puppet.
Interesting. Yeah.
So
there's like some stuff like that, like where the CGI I felt was a little bit off, a little bit weird. Sizing mostly, which was kind of weird. Also, I don't know how he got his fucking gun back all of a sudden in the swamp. Like he just was taking, like, he literally was like taking a shit from getting attacked by the snake dragon, and then just like popped up and was like, oh, here's my gun. You're like, that was kind of weird, but I do like it, and I had a good time with it, even though Josh was next to me falling asleep. I give it a 3 out of 5.
Oh, yeah.
That's wrong. That's where I land.
Typical Tim. Complaining about sizes. Am I right?
It's true. When you're
All
right.
right, now I'm gonna keep this real short and sweet. This was a bad fucking movie with bad fucking writing, and I gave it a 2 out of 5, and I feel like that's generous. And that's my thoughts on this movie. That's it. Timbo, why don't you take us out of this bad boy?
You got it. Anthony, before we go away, let the people know where to see you and feel you and that wonderful beard you have.
Oh, thank you so much for the compliment. Yeah, you can see and feel me on my YouTube channel, Anthony A. Perez. I have a very generic name, and I oftentimes regret that I chose to just go by my name on YouTube. But if you go to YouTube and just type in Anthony Perez, I think I've gotten to myself to the point where you would just see me pop up. I already dropped a personal, if you just want to listen to me talk, just you and me. Just you and me talk about The Mandalorian without this negative Nancy that we got in here. Then then head on over to my channel. I've already dropped a review, but on top of that, I drop weekly early reviews for film and television, all sorts of fun stuff, and do discussions and have my own guest kind of collabs as well. And just big thanks to you guys for having me on. Really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun to chat and get a little white girl wasted with you guys.
Yeah, Anthony, it was a pleasure, my man. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, please like, share, subscribe, put how you feel about The Mandalorian in the comments. If you haven't watched it and you watched this whole thing to the end, I don't know why you did that. You probably shouldn't do that.
Nobody's watching.
Well, I hope someone's watching. Anyway, let us know where we got right, what we got wrong, and what is your favorite moment of The Mandalorian and Grogu.
And I'll catch you on that flippity flop.